We are now joined by Mr. R.N. Mandal, Managing Director of Suparna Chemicals Ltd, to discuss the safety equipments used in mining industry in our studio. Mr. Mandal, welcome to Business News. Welcome to DD News. Just tell us about what is this SCSR and where it is used.
Actually, SCSR is a short name. It is actual name is self-contained self-rescuer, in the sense that it is fully contained itself, and the man can rescue himself without any outside help in case of any emergency, particularly fire within the mines. And he need not depends on any outside help. He can just open the equipment and start breathing, and he can come out to the safety place for shelter.
What does Indian Coal Mine Act say about this SCSR?
You see that I should not say the Indian coal mines are against of the SCSR, but they have got a very limited knowledge on the SCSR, in the sense is that the Indian coal mines law, which is specified in 1985, there is a what they have said, self-rescuer. They have not specified what type of self-rescuer. It can be anything. So whether it is a dependent, independent, or it is depending in the atmosphere. So there was a little loopholes, and that has been left to the knowledge of the person concerned who will approve these equipments. So at that time, when in 1985 probably this filter self-rescuer based on the soda lime was available, and our mines started using that one. And it is a they have written that after that no person go into work or be permitted to go into work or work below ground in any gassy mine of 3rd degree, and after 1 and 3 years of the coming into force of the Coal Mines Regulation 1985 in any gassy mine of 2nd and 1st degree respectively, unless he is provided with carriers with him a self-rescuer such type as may be approved by the Chief Inspector, by general order in writing. So here that again he says that our law says that he should have a self-rescuer.
Okay.
But what type of self-rescuer, that was not specified. And this self-contained self-rescuer is a very recent development which was gone into American mines, is around 81. And we started thinking about the self that is, I should say, the Raksha Kavach or self-contained self-rescuer only after the disaster in Uganda, where the many people have died in I believe it is 1994, when this about the self-rescuer question has come, that is 1994.
What are the different types of this SCSR and how it is different from FSR?
You see, FSR is a equipment where it can only, that is filter self-rescuer. What is our mines are using, it is that it can filter carbon monoxide in case of fire, and it can filter only up to the 1% of the carbon monoxide. But most of the cases it has been seen that when there is a fire, so the carbon monoxide goes up, and it doesn't work. And secondly, it becomes very hot. And mostly, and it has to depend. It has to depend for oxygen from the atmosphere. Whereas self-contained self-rescuer, when there is a fire or anything is there, or in a closed chamber where there is also carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, or any toxic gas, it doesn't depend on the atmosphere. It itself is self-sufficient. So he goes on breathing within the equipment and he get a fresh oxygen from the equipment. And more, if you suppose he works very hard, then it will supply the more oxygen. If he doesn't work hard, then he can work, he can get oxygen even for 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. And if you suppose he is running very fast, so our standard says that it should be approximately 30 minutes. And our mines are very long. So, the 30 minutes, the minimum is prescribed.
Talking about the developed countries, so what are the regulations about FSR and SCSR in those countries?
You see, now no country, except I believe Indonesia, no country is using this FSR. And it has been discarded and obsolete. And in fact, the using FSR to the miners, it is a legal obligation on the Coal India. This has got a no value. Using FSR or not using FSR is as good as same. It is, I believe that if our workers really comes to know that the function of FSR, benefits, they will never. And I believe already they are started talking. If you go to the mines, they say it's a lota. And because that after they use it as a lota for so it has got no meaning. But even though still just to comply the rules and regulation, not the safety of the workers, rules and regulation, they are still purchasing the FSR to avoid the purchase of the self-contained self-rescuer because it is costlier. So you see, at least these things, this has got a 5 years life, self-contained self-rescuer. So what is the idea is that if we purchase this self-contained self-rescuer, the Director General of Mines cannot tell him to purchase the next 5 years the self-contained self-rescuer.
What prompted you to develop this SCSR?
You see, SCSR, we actually it's got a story like this is that we in the 1994 when Dr. Kalam was the advisor to the Ministry of, this Defense Ministry, and that time this question came that our submarine when they go underwater, they require potassium superoxide, which is a closed surface, closed things, and then this crew member, they release the carbon dioxide and this submarine gets full of carbon dioxide. So what happens, this potassium superoxide that absorb and release the fresh oxygen. And we used to import this from Russian, and there was a problem with the Russian supplies. So then they told us to develop this potassium superoxide for the submarine. And since that time, we are supplying to the submarine the potassium superoxide for their self-rescuer, I believe since 1994.
How does Raksha Kavach actually works, and pricing wise how it's cost effective compared to other imported materials?
You see that if I can show you the Raksha Kavach, we have got a this is the picture of the Raksha Kavach, and that we have got a model also that you can see there. But Raksha Kavach, it works on a principle of it doesn't depend at all on the atmosphere. Doesn't depend at all on the atmosphere, whatever may be the atmosphere. That is the Raksha Kavach principle.
How is pricing wise, how it is priced actually? It is comparable?
You see, today I know that if we introduce the Indian supplies, I believe it will be half the price.
Okay.
Almost half the price.
Half the price. What are your future plans in about this Raksha Kavach and other safety equipments you are planning?
You see that our mines are very old, and they are very long distance. Now the worker has to travel long distance. So even after some time, these 30 minutes Raksha Kavach may not be sufficient for them. So we have already started working to make a Raksha Kavach which can last 30 minutes, 60 minutes. Then we have also started working, all these high-rise building, when there is a fire, the people run away, and and they cannot escape. So for them, we are planning to have a this Raksha Kavach of say 10-15 minutes, so that they can put that on and they can come out of the fumes or the any.
Is there a proper training required for a worker to use the Raksha Kavach? He's being promptly trained before that.
You see, definitely there is a training is required, but we have made this equipment keeping in mind the Indian workers' mentality and the Indian condition. You see, if you see in the self-contained cell rescue of imported one, so they have got two version. One version is this, that the one main oxygen supplier, that is potassium superoxide canister, and then they put another small oxygen. So in case of fire, the worker first he has to initiate with this one, with the small one, and after 2-3 minutes then he start breathing. But if that first one fails, the worker will be in a very panicky condition, and he may feel. So that we thought it that he should avoid this one. So we thought it that we should make such a way that he can start within 2-3 breaths. So within 2-3 breaths he start. So this one is making a very good that way. Secondly, the people they don't like to carry. Every day he has to carry a weight of approximately 2 kg, and he doesn't like to carry a very big weight.
Correct.
So we thought it to reduce the weight as much as possible. So then that then we thought it that it should be at least minimum 30 minutes if we cannot give it more. So at least so we thought that it works 30 minutes, but our trial has shown it is worked up to 40 minutes. But we took it as a 30-minute standard. Then while breathing, you see the most of the imported equipment they give a very high temperature. So workers, when they breathe, and if we get a high temperature, so he cannot stand. So before the 30 minutes comes, he just throws it. So we put lot of heat exchanger within the equipment, so that the heat get dissipated and the workers get a cool oxygen. So when you took the trial in the rescue mines, and they are very happy that the air is very cool.
Cool, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mandal. Thanks for joining us on Business News. Thanks a lot.